Hello everybody. If you want all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. I got a request to do a slightly longer story from a good user on www.freefortalk.com. So here we go. Short story 916A, The Empty Platform, Intermediate. Daniel enjoyed walking home after his evening shift. The streets were calm and the cool air helped him relax after a long day. His usual route took him past a small bus depot on the edge of town. The depot was old, but it was still used during the day. One Thursday evening, Daniel noticed something strange. A single bus was waiting at the far end of the depot. Its engine was running, but there were no lights inside. The front sign was completely blank. No driver could be seen through the windscreen. Daniel stopped for a moment. He looked around, expecting somebody to explain what was happening, but the area was empty. Then the bus door slowly opened. A cold feeling ran through his body. He told himself not to be foolish. Perhaps the driver was filling in some paperwork. Daniel walked on. The next evening, the same bus was there. Again, the engine was running. Again, the destination sign was blank. Again, nobody was inside. The door opened just as he walked past. This time, he hurried away without looking back. When he reached home, he could not stop thinking about it. On Saturday, he mentioned the strange bus to an older neighbor called Mr. Harris. The old man became unusually serious. "You saw it?" he asked quietly. Daniel nodded. Mr. Harris looked out of the window before speaking again. "Many years ago, there was a terrible accident involving a bus from that depot. Nobody could explain exactly what happened. Since then, people have sometimes seen the bus waiting there after dark." Daniel laughed nervously. "That sounds like an old ghost story." "I wish it was," Mr. Harris replied. Daniel smiled politely, but the conversation stayed in his mind. 2 evenings later, Daniel finished work later than usual. Heavy clouds covered the sky. As he reached the depot, the strange bus was waiting once more. The engine was already running, the door opened, then he heard a voice. "Please come aboard." The voice was calm, but it did not sound human. It seemed to come from every direction at once. Daniel stepped backwards. "No," he whispered. The bus gave a long, low hiss. The door remained open. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then the door closed by itself. The engine became louder. Slowly, the bus pulled away. Daniel watched in silence. The vehicle drove towards the exit of the depot. Just before reaching the road, it disappeared. There was no bright flash, there was no cloud of smoke. One moment it was there, the next moment it was gone. Daniel could not move. His hands were shaking. The following morning, he searched online for information about the old accident. He found a newspaper report from over 40 years earlier. A late evening bus had left the depot with a full load of passengers. The driver had reported hearing someone calling for help beside the road. He'd stopped the bus. When the passengers looked outside, there was nobody there. The driver became frightened and drove away. A few minutes later, the bus left the road and crashed into a deep river. Nobody survived. Daniel stared at the screen. The report included a photograph of the bus before the accident. It was exactly the same bus. That evening, Daniel decided to avoid the depot forever. He chose a longer route home. For several weeks, everything seemed normal again. Then, one rainy Friday, he was delayed at work. The weather became so bad that buses across the town stopped running. Daniel began the long walk home. The streets were empty. Rain filled the air. As he reached the crossroads, bright headlights appeared through the storm. A bus slowed beside him. The destination sign was blank. The door opened. The same calm voice spoke. "Please come aboard." Daniel turned and ran. He slipped on the wet pavement but quickly got up again. He kept running until his chest burned. When he finally looked behind him, the bus had disappeared. He never saw it again. Years passed. Daniel grew older. He retired from work and moved to another town many miles away. He rarely thought about the strange bus anymore. One cold winter evening he became ill while walking home from the shops. Snow was falling heavily. The streets were almost empty. He felt weak and sat down on a bench. In the distance he heard the sound of a bus engine. Bright headlights slowly came closer. The bus stopped beside him. Its destination sign was blank. The door opened without a sound. The familiar voice spoke one final time. "This journey is for you." Daniel quietly stood up. He climbed aboard. The door closed. The bus drove away into the falling snow. It was never seen again. If you learned a new word today, please make sure to subscribe so you can practice again next time. Vocabulary notes. Nervously. Meaning, if you do something nervously, you feel worried, afraid, or uncertain, and this affects your actions or the way you speak. It often happens when you are anxious about what might happen next. Example: Daniel laughed nervously. Similar words: anxiously, uneasily, worriedly, fearfully. Extra example: Maria smiled nervously before giving her presentation to the large audience. Hesitated, meaning, if you hesitate, you pause before acting or speaking because you are unsure, afraid, or need more time to decide. A person may hesitate when they do not feel confident about what to do next. Example: for several seconds, nothing happened. Then the door closed by itself. Daniel had stepped backwards and did not go onto the bus because he hesitated. Similar words: paused, delayed, faltered, wavered. Extra example: he hesitated at the edge of the icy path because he was afraid of slipping. Disappeared, meaning, if something disappears, it stops being visible or can no longer be found. It can mean that a person or object has gone away suddenly or mysteriously. Example: one moment it was there, the next moment it was gone. Similar words: vanished, faded, went away, was lost from sight. Extra example: the bird disappeared into the thick clouds and could no longer be seen. Retired, meaning, when someone retires, they stop working permanently, usually because they have reached an age when they no longer need to continue their job. Example: he retired from work and moved to another town many miles away. Similar words: stopped working, left employment. Finished working, withdrew from work. Extra example: after 40 years as a nurse, Helen retired and spent more time traveling. Familiar, meaning, if something is familiar, you recognize it because you have seen, heard, or experienced it before. Familiar things feel known rather than completely new or strange. Example: the familiar voice spoke one final time. Similar words: recognizable, known, remembered, well known. Extra example: when James heard the familiar song on the radio, it reminded him of his childhood. Story written by ChatGPT. Image created by ChatGPT. To read, listen, see all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.